So, hockey road trip. Back during the playoffs last year, we were talking, and I said that sometime I'd really like to go to Chicago because Bolig was my favorite player. Still is. I love him. And I wanted to see him play a home game. So, it started out as more of a, like, not a concrete plan, just so, someday this would be nice to do. And then we're like, fuck it, let's go to Chicago. Let's do it. Let's take a road trip, go to Chicago. And then they traded Bolliger, and they were like, "Oh, do you still want to go?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, Chicago is still my favorite team, so even though they traded my favorite player, and I cried a lot, yes, I still want to go." So we planned the trip and everything, and then we also started joking around. We're like, "Oh, we're driving through Buffalo anyway. We should see who Buffalo's playing." And turns out Buffalo was playing the Oilers. I love the Oilers. I don't follow them as well as I should because a lot of the live streams for their games aren't always that good, which is kind of sad. But I do love the Oilers. So then we were also joking around like maybe a week or two later, and we're like, oh, we don't have to be back at work until like the 14th. We should see what other games are happening, So we go through all the teams in the area and see, and we start looking at the Rangers because Veronica, goalies man, happens to have the biggest love for Mark Stahl. Like, Mark Stahl is her bae. So I was like, oh, we could always go see the Rangers. So we're looking. The tickets are like $111. We're like, oh, it's about average. We could probably swing that. So then for shits and giggles, we're like, what are the Islanders doing? And then we realized that nosebleed tickets to see the Islanders are $9. Yeah. So I bet you can guess which game we picked. So we were like, okay, so we're going to go see the Islanders play the Avalanche. And we're sitting 2 rows behind the visitors' bench for $66. I could buy 3 tickets in the nosebleeds for Boston for that much. So yeah. The drive to Buffalo was long and uneventful. Upper state New York is freezing. We stopped at one rest stop probably about an hour outside of Buffalo. We were joking around about how poorly the Sabres and the Bills are doing this season. And the girl behind the counter goes, I just want you to know, I can hear everything you're saying. And we just kind of stopped and we're like, oh my god, she probably thinks we're assholes. Like, we're just kidding, we don't actually mean anything. And then she's like, and it's hilarious. And we're like, oh, dodged a bullet, thank god. So, we get to Buffalo, and it wasn't as big, I don't think, as we were expecting, because, like, we're not, like, I wouldn't call us country bumpkins by any means, but, like, we're not from city areas. We're from small town areas. And not like, like the picturesque small town, but like smaller towns, Boston's like an hour away. Yes, hi Kitty. So, it wasn't as big as we thought it was gonna be. Which was kind of nice. Like, it sort of eased us into it. So, we sort of snuck in. Our hotel was there. The first Niagara Coliseum is like a minute walk away. It's like literally right there. We went to this little brew pub because apparently we're in the brewery district, which is kind of nifty. And they had a Don Cherry wheat, which was surprisingly tasty. Like, none of us are really huge beer people, and I sort of expected it to taste gross just because it's Don Cherry. Surprisingly, it was tasty. And then they had this other one that was called like the Saber's Edge, and they're like, oh yeah, it's got a bunch of fruity flavors and all this stuff. It's sort of like an IPA, but not really, and it was weird. It had a very, very strange aftertaste. Yeah. But anyway, the hotel was really, really nice. Like modern, but not like weird modern, but like nice. The shower was glorious. The bed was super comfy. No complaints. It was really nice. So we go to the game. Now, obviously, we're cheering for the Oilers, but we also stopped at the store. Like, they bought some pins. I was trying to get a set of earrings from every arena we went to. The Islanders don't have earrings. But so, I get a set of earrings for the Sabres, and then, like, we go and we sit down. Now we're sitting maybe 6 rows back from the ice, because tickets there are also not very expensive. Now, I'm not shitting on Buffalo at all. Like, I get it. Sometimes your team sucks, no matter how hard you try. Just, it's painful. I'm an Oilers fan. I get it. But the crowd didn't seem very enthusiastic about it. So, like, it took us until, like, the third period to figure out that their chant is "Let's go Buffalo," because no one was doing it. And when they were, it was, like, tiny pockets of people at a time. So, like, there wasn't really a lot of oomph in that crowd, which was a little disappointing. But, there's this girl sitting behind us, and she was, like, freaking out. She's like, we suck so bad. We're going to lose our team. This is awful. And I wanted to be like, honey, it just said there were 17,000 people here. The seats are pretty full. Like, as long as you keep paying to see them, they ain't going anywhere. They'll still play. And they're rebuilding. They'll get better. It happens, However, one thing that was immensely entertaining is hearing the fans of the two teams that are consistently in the bottom of the standings chirping each other. Because then it turns into things like, oh yeah, how'd you like those last 4 losses, Oilers? And they're like, dude, fuck you. We're still higher than you in the standings, and we're winning. Sit down. Shut up. And it was just, like, immensely entertaining to hear that. Nuge's flow in person is just as great as I thought it would be. They did a really good job. Like, there were a few minutes there where, like, it was, well, for like half the period, we're like, oh god, oh god, oh god, because they were tied and they were down, but then they won. That's all that matters. None of like the really bad stuff that they do, which was nice. The only time one of them ended up doing a belly flop, he actually managed to stop a goal from going in, so it's a pretty good game. Proud of you boys. However, we discovered that I'm not good at stairs, because they were selling souvenir cups. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna get a souvenir cup. And on the stairs, it says the number of the row that you're sitting at. So I'm looking at the numbers instead of the stairs. I end up falling down a bunch of them. Managed to hold on to my soda, but I break the cup because I'm squeezing it so tight. So, goodbye, souvenir cup. That soda tasted wonderful. Seems I had like one sip and now I'm wearing all of it. It was a great time. And this kid was like, oh my god, like I bet if you go ask for another one, they'll give you one. I'm like, it's okay. I'm just gonna sit down in my seat and make no noise and pretend that I don't exist. It's so fucking embarrassing. Wonderful. Yeah. So that happened. So I now have a nice bump on my knee, and my knee hurts like a bitch from falling down the stairs at the first Niagara Center, because I'm talented. But yeah, so we won. It was a good game. It was good. Like I said, not a lot of crowd enthusiasm, but I enjoyed it immensely. It was a good time. So yeah, that was day 1.